Hansian and Johnston have been really instrumental when it comes to looking at our front area as well as this auditorium that's going to be worked on here in the near future. And we want to thank them for being sponsors. So, all right, Gavin, you can take it off there, back a little bit. But everyone that have physically attended the meeting, and we're at almost full capacity, as we normally are in here, received a box of chocolates. And so for those who are watching or listening online or on the phone, I'm going to be giving you a special code at the end that you can come to me and say, and I will give you a box of chocolates. Limited supplies allowed. So, but you have a chance to get yourself a box of chocolates there with that. So, all right. So I'll sit that right there, and I'll just start off with a couple of things organization-wide. Believe it or not, we're coming up on inclement weather time and potential closures, and so we're going to be probably doing a test message to our automated system, just to kind of make sure people are getting the message. I'll send out an email to say, I'm testing this evening. If you don't get it, let us know, and we'll make sure that you get onto the list of being called for different closures and things like that. Really important to realize this year, we've broken away from relying on any district on what they do when it comes to administration office and Clairview. I know early intervention has a system in place already, so I don't want to confuse that. But for the administrative building here, as well as Clairview, we kind of follow now our own announcement, and we're not tied to Hempfield, we're not tied to Greensburg-Salem. We make our own independent decisions when it comes to administrative office as well as the Clairview School. So, well, I know we communicated that at the beginning of the year, but I just want to re-emphasize that. And that gives me kind of the ability to make the call much earlier than had been the case previously. So it's always my goal to make a call by 5:30, so then I can get that out and people can plan accordingly, because folks have, childcare issues and driving issues and things like that. So we just want to make sure that we're all on pace there. Another thing, just globally, don't forget and mark your calendars, June 8th, 2018 is our all WIU in Service Day. Location to be determined. But the purpose of that day, and the reason we moved it from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, is we want that day to serve truly as a celebration of all the great things that occur throughout the year. So as I work with the division directors on different ideas to then bring out what are the celebrations that we should have, we're going to ask you for ideas as well of how can we celebrate the things that we've accomplished and the organization as a whole. So more details to come with that, but if you have any ideas, don't be afraid to share it, with your division director and the like. All right, third thing I wanted to go over, Eric had to go to Pittsburgh for a meeting today. So construction-wise, since we last were together, the HVAC system, both at Clairview as well as the administration office, is complete. And so we have brand new systems there. We finally now have a, what is that called? A generator at Clairview, a major league generator that I can't believe that for years we never had a backup generator over at Clairview, but we do now in case, electric goes out and can ensure heat and air conditioning continue, and, and the services for kids can continue. If you haven't been to the administration office yet, you'll notice a brand new entryway that looks absolutely beautiful. The furniture for that's forthcoming, as well as some of the decorating that's going to go on with that. The last thing that has to be done with that phase of the construction is they have to finish the last coat of the roofing to kind of finalize that. Phase 2 is going to involve the auditorium, in which Full House is sitting in right now, and yeah, it's a full house. And we're looking at flattening the floor and then creating a center ice feel to the room with monitors, and as well as having a movable stage, that we could have a stage up front, or we could put the stage in the center. And movable tables like we have at Center Ice that have different configurations versus the stagnant view of what we have right here. So we're really looking forward to that. That's going to be phase 2, and things should get rolling with that into the spring for that. I think that's all about construction. Did I miss anything about construction? All right. Now, let me just kind of give you an update about Clairview. And one of the things, constantly, there's fear in terms of, what's going to happen with Clairview. Is it closing? Is it not closing? And nowhere in our plans have we had any plans to close down Clairview. All right. We're simply looking at different ways that we can serve the districts and what are the services that they need. And so Dr. Shulo is going to talk a little bit about the program side of it, but I'm going to talk about the financial side briefly, and that is that we have a lease, a 20-year lease on that building, and so we're responsible for paying that lease and the taxes and the utilities that go with that for the next 20 years. Doesn't matter if we have one program running or 18 programs running. So we have that burden, and therefore, indirectly, the districts have that burden. No matter how many programs are running or not, the districts ultimately would have to pay for any type of unused space over there. So one of the things that we're looking to do is how do we stabilize from year to year the program, so then that way we don't have a crossroads and an IT situation occur to us again, where in the summer, as enrollment dropped, we had to react and had to close the program. So one way in which we're addressing this is to look at the building lease and moving the burden of that building lease and moving it from the program and moving it into the general operating budget. And so that general operating budget then would charge the programs for whatever space that they use and a percentage of shared space. So therefore, if there's less programs being used, then there's less burden on the program. But the burden increases for then the general operating budget. And the general operating budget is what the districts contribute to if there's any deficit when it comes to revenue. So, for instance, last year, I think, Lynn, it was $358,000.
387.
What is it? 387. $387,000 was contributed by the 17 school districts in a proportional way. So, for instance, Hempfield paid a larger part of that versus Monessen did of that contribution. So what would happen is in this scenario, if Clairview space becomes empty, then that becomes the burden of general operating budget, which would increase what districts would have to pay into the general operating budget. So what it does is it protects the programs. And then we don't have these wild swings of enrollment, and then those who stay have to pay more of the burden. And that's not fair to those districts who are utilizing the programs like they are. So that's a shift in the financial business model, and you're going to see that being implemented when we go into the general operating budget creation, this month, and we present it to the board in January and go forward with that. We presented this to the superintendents. We presented this to the business managers. We presented this to the board members. And so far, we've had favorable responses from all because they said to us, it seems to make sense. Those who don't use Clairview as much may not be so thrilled, but we feel, and I think most in the county feel, that that's really a county asset that all of us are responsible for it in the county with that. So I know Joe's going to talk more about program and what he's done on that side of it. To increase awareness throughout the county, we have embarked on scheduling a tour of the county. And last year we did this by sharing what's an IU and how does an IU work. This year, in January and February, myself, Colleen, and Joe are going to be visiting each of the districts and having a 15-minute presentation on Clairview. What is it? What's the purpose? How do we do it? And what's the future look like in that building? Because of the 153 board members that we have in the county, I'm not sure how many know truly what Clairview is and what special place that is. So we're going on the road. I don't think I'll be able to give out chocolates, but we're going to be marketing the heck out of that program. And maybe that's going to assist in increasing enrollment for the existing programs and new programs that we're exploring there. So we're really excited to get the word out. So if you are interested in attending any of those presentations, either contact me, Joe, or Colleen, and we can let you know what date and what schools that we're going to. The more people that we have at those district level board meetings, the more power we show and how great we are in that program. And so we're really encouraging people to attend those district board meetings when we're presenting, and we'll be definitely saying, hey, by the way, all WIU employees, why don't you guys stand up so the board can see who's here and who really believes in the program, and we want you to believe in it as much as we do and going forward with that. All right. Let's see here. Is there anything else that I wanted to share? I have a notation here of Wednesday. Oh, our next quarterly meeting, and I'll say this at the end, is February 28th. So that's February 28th, and I'll make sure that I share that. Also, at the very, very end, I'm going to be sharing a special code for those who are watching that they can come and get their own box of chocolates. But I'm going to do that at the very, very end of the evening. All right. So, without further ado, Joe, do you want to start us off since I talked about Clairview? So, Dr. Shulo, the floor is yours.
All right. So, Dr. Conway shared that the business model, so the Java-like group of special ed leaders in the county were responsible to talk about what are the program needs and what can we develop to try to ensure that every space is used at Clairview, which would then mean there's no increase to general operating budget. So our goal at the program side was to develop programs and services that would fill the building to capacity and pay for the space that we use. So we have proposed, or we've heard a need that every program that currently runs there is needed. So we will continue, we propose to continue autism, continue life skills, and continue multiple disabilities support. Our physical support program has very low enrollment moving into the upcoming years and does very much the same thing that MDS classes do. So we'll combine those two programs into just an MDS class, but we'll still meet the needs of those students just under the MDS program as opposed to separating them out. The new services that they asked for were services to address emotional needs of students, and they felt that there was a need to address students who had higher academic standards than what we have in our current emotional support program. So what we've proposed is a 4-tier emotional support model. Tier 1 being the emotional support program that we have over there. That includes classroom teacher, assistant, and those students are eligible primarily for the PASA test. And then we move up to tier 2, 3, and 4 that get more restrictive with smaller class size, more staff to address mental health, some certified board analysts, some BCBAs on staff as well. And those students would participate in core content through the use of some online learning tool, but also have the support of a teacher, a para, a BCBA, and some form of mental health specialist as well. So we've pitched costs and frameworks for all of those. LEAs, student services, administrators in our department here, yes or no, this is terrible, so that we can move forward after the Christmas break with interagency agreements and hopefully securing staff. If all takes off, we'll be on the rise with staff again, looking at potentially 5 new staff members moving into next school year if these take off. So hopefully we've done our due diligence to get the needs and that they will fly next year. Thank you to everyone who did submit to me their budget prep form. That's very helpful for us in the business office to be able to budget for changes in benefits or anticipated credits and things like that. So I appreciate everyone who turned that back in. We are in the first phase of budget prep where supervisors have submitted their wants. And Lynn and I will start now to build budget for next year and give the yep, we can do it, or no, we can't. So thank you again to those who submitted that. We have, since the opening of school year, we have proposed or advertised to our district's 4 brand new services out of the Student Services Division. We are now offering a functional behavioral assessment done by a board-certified behavior analyst. We are doing EI screenings for preschool partners. We have started a feeding team for students who suffer from dysphagia, and we are offering an county-wide training opportunity for districts on February 19th, offered by TAC. So that is very exciting to see those new programs and services. Additionally, we've advertised 28 courses offered by TAC in our course offerings catalog. That was released to all student services directors and principals, and I believe curriculum folks as well, to get the word out there that the TAC team is here, offer free professional development, and offer some topics and objectives. Lastly, I do want to give a quick note that we do have 2 TAC positions opened, and at least as of today, 1 speech language position open that we hope to have filled by the 2nd semester. Filled, maybe not started yet, but filled and hired. And my final announcement is that the board did approve the hiring of Denise Needison to be the 2nd speech language pathologist supervisor.
Okay. Did you want to note the Student Services Conference held in Pittsburgh? I think that's a great
sure.
moment for us.
November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, you might have recognized that many of our bodies were out. We were the lead IU in planning the first statewide PAIU Student Services Leadership Conference. We had about 260 representatives from across the state, student services leaders, participate in a 3-day conference at the Station Square Pittsburgh Hotel.
Very successful.
Very successful.
Because that used to be in the east. We fought very hard to get it on the west. We tried to get it hosted in Greensburg, but the nightlife of Greensburg did not compare with Pittsburgh. So we relented and said, okay, we'll still lead it even if it's in Pittsburgh. All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Shula. All right. Mr. Hamill, what do you have for curriculum?
All right. I'll start off with the Academy. We are currently, as of today, at 2,360 enrollments, which is a record for this time of year. We've never been this high at this point in the year. In fact, we're slowly creeping up on our total for all of last year, I think, at this point. So awesome. Kudos to the program. That includes 582 students across the county and beyond taking courses. So the program is flying. We've even gotten to the point where we've had to up our inventory of equipment to hand out that we give to students, and that leased equipment from the program, like laptops and scanners and things like that. So things are going well there, and it's really great to see the activity. A big part of our team just returned from Hershey. We were at the SAS Institute, the state conference, and we presented. Cindy Schaefer presented on CDT, and Matt Thomas and I did a workshop on keeping kids safe online, and sort of BARC related in the content. Great conference. We had a keynote speaker named George Kuros, who has written a book on the innovation mindset, and he was very dynamic and kind of intrigued us to the point of looking at, is it possible to get him here to our region and perhaps have him as a speaker locally for some things that we want to do. So it was a great, very motivational, I think, for all of us to hear him, and I think we brought a lot back from that we'll be able to incorporate. Remake Learning Days. We're going into our 3rd year of being a part of Remake Learning and their efforts to transform education in the region. And this year, the Remake Learning Days are scheduled for May 17th through the 25th. And the registration period to be a part of Remake Learning Days and to host an event actually opened December 1st. If anybody out there is interested in doing an event for that, you can go online and to Remake Learning Days and actually sign up, register your event. We do have some grant funding available. There's about $2,500 that's been given to us to help fund events, to give some support monies for ancillary services, things that might be needed, like refreshments or things like that. But it has been a growing opportunity for us to be a part of. Last year, there were over 300 events that happened during Remake Learning Days across the region. And it's really one of the largest open houses in the world. People can go all over the region and experience so many different types of mostly free events where they can go and experience learning in a whole new way. So excited about that coming up again. So if you know anybody that's interested, pass it along, or you yourself need more information, please feel free to reach out to me on that one.
So like if somebody has an idea, they can apply to you for that.
Yeah,
grant money.
if you think you need maybe $100 or $200 to kick something off, to get something started, or to cover some costs, we have a little bit of funding to help you with that. Okay. Also coming up, or actually already done here, we did a Carnegie STEM Pathways training for the IUs in our region. This is part of the state's STEM initiative, and Carnegie STEM Pathways is one of the adopted frameworks that's being integrated, and we were able to schedule a regional training for that here in Center Ice. So excited to be a part of that. Also coming up January 15th, Carnegie Mellon University will be here hosting a training for Alice. Alice isn't a person, Alice is a program. Alice doesn't live here anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
Alice is a 3D rendering software that Carnegie Mellon designed specifically for people to get started in the 3D animation world. And if any of you remember Randy Pausch, who was wrote the book, The Last Lecture, but also gave the last lecture. He was a Carnegie Mellon professor, actually passed away from cancer, but before he did, he left his mark. And he actually was one of the co-designers of Alice. And in honor of the 10th anniversary of his passing, they are going to do a challenge, an Alice challenge for school districts. So we're hosting a training here for teachers to learn how to use it, and in turn they can then enter the challenge with their students and create projects. And it's pretty fascinating. If you want to take a look at it, just do a quick Google search for Alice software, and you'll find it. You'll see some really interesting student-built projects. It's kind of like a little on the rough side Pixar animation kind of thing, okay? But that's some great stuff coming up. December 13th, we are hosting our student task force, Stand Up to Bullying task force. And I am extremely excited about this because we have currently 5 school districts that have students that will be coming that day who will be working together specifically on the topic of bullying and addressing that issue in schools. We are actually going to task that group with planning our spring conference, which will be a fairly large undertaking for them, but it'll be their responsibility to come up with the plan for what that day is going to be. So on that day, instead of us sitting up here throwing out what we think, it'll be the students here saying what needs to be said from their angle to our schools and to our administrators. Very excited about the group that has come together out of this whole thing, and the quality of the students that have been chosen. It was a very good pick from most of our districts who are sending kids. I think it has the potential to have an impact beyond anything we've ever done before in this realm. So really excited to see how that goes throughout the year here in planning. So we'll keep you posted on that one. We're also continuing our efforts with Bell Vernon. We have a comprehensive PD program that we started with Bell Vernon, first and second grade teachers. This is an all-year process that we've been involved with them. We meet with them virtually twice a month through Zoom, and we also have pretty much a monthly standing engagement with them for professional development. We've been working with them here on site, and starting this month, we're going to be traveling to Bell Vernon and working on their side. So we've done some off-site work. Now we're going to actually do some coaching within their classrooms directly with them. Pretty exciting stuff, because being that it's long-term, we're able to really impact and move the needle a little bit on their teaching. It's sometimes is a challenge to do that, and for some more than others. So we're able to actually go into their classrooms and coach directly with individual teachers. And it's been fun. It's been a lot of, it's an interesting way to work with a small group of teachers and really make a difference. So I think we're learning as just as much as they are in the process. We are also starting to prepare the launch of a research project with, it's actually funded through Highmark. We'll be doing some research with BARC, our online safety program, the company that we've been working with, and the Center for Health Promotion and Disease Prevention in Johnstown. We'll be doing a year-long study of how BARC impacts parent engagement in schools. And we're focusing specifically on 6th grade, choosing 3 different schools, 1 rural, 1 suburban, and 1 urban. And in that year-long study, our goal is to see how does bringing BARC to families change the process of engaging parents in this issue of cyberbullying. And we're excited because these parents are going to have the opportunity to have that service free for a year, and they're at no charge, so they'll be able to be using it and not have to worry about paying for it. So we're excited that the plan is that will kick off in January. So we're actually in the process of getting our schools set up and signed up now. 2 other quick things here. We co-hosted with St. Vincent November 14th what we called the Ultimate Unconference. An unconference unlike a regular conference, where everybody arrived that day, about 200 people, and there was no agenda. And the agenda was actually created after everybody arrived. So it was done by asking everybody, okay, tell us what you want to learn today, and tell us what you have to share. And then we pieced together and scheduled the conference within a half an hour of them putting up what they had to share and what they wanted to know, and delivered the conference. And it was pretty exciting to see that dynamic. A lot of people didn't know really quite how to deal with a conference that worked that way. But as the day went on, it really proved to be a very engaging and exciting experience. So we were very happy to be a part of that. A good partner in St. Vincent for us. We've done a lot of great things in conjunction with them, including having a course that runs every Monday night here this semester in Center Ice. They've been using our facility to host a course with Aaron Sams. So continued great things go on there with St. Vincent. I want to leave it with some statistics from ESL. We've had kind of an explosion, I'd call it. I think Cindy would agree. Our ESL, we currently have 13 teachers who are teaching in ESL for us that are covering 66 kids in 11 school districts. So those numbers that have really grown. And actually, Cindy just told me today she's going to be needing to get a 14th teacher because we know of some additional growth. So all positive things that are happening there, and really, great to see that we're able to fit to fill that need in that service area for our districts. And that's it.
Very good. Thank you very much, Tim. All right, we're going to pass the hockey puck to Lynn.
All right.
Let's talk to us about financial services.
Thanks. Actually, we just finished all the reconciliations and filed our annual financial report for last year on November 30th. And as soon as we finished that, we started all the budgets for this coming year. So for actually 18-19. So we're kicking off preliminary budget for general office, Dr. Conway mentioned, also preliminary budgets for the special education programs. Working with Brandy on trying to wrap up some EI stuff that I owe her for January. And then we're also preparing for year-end things like the 1099s for vendors and W-2s for employees, and we have year-end rollovers in various aspects of the system. So we've got a lot going on with our group. Always tends to be busy. I don't know that I've been here 13 months now, and I haven't found a down cycle. So it's not a bad thing, but it's pretty consistently busy. That's it.
Very good. All right. Want to pass me out? All right. So we can now open it up to questions that you might have. So what questions do we have from people who are physically here? And for those who are online, what I'm going to do is I'm going to unmute all of you. And so feel free to ask any questions you might have out there. Gavin, would you be the one that would hear the question? If anybody asks?
You can hear it on here.
Oh, I can hear it on this speaker. Great. Okay. So any questions from the audience? Any questions from those who are listening online? Wow, silence. Everyone's waiting for the secret code. That's what they are waiting for.
Could we maybe make Clariview great again?
With the red, the white lettering.
The white squares.
Well, that may not be a bad idea. I like that idea. So I don't know if Colleen had heard that. Colleen listening online here, and Katie Zingarelli said we should have make Clariview great again with the red hats and the white lettering. So it might be something that we do. All right. Any other suggestions, comments from anyone physically here or outside? All right. Well, thanks again for attending. Hopefully you found it very valuable. I know some of this information you may have heard twice, 3 times, 4 times, but for some of you, it might have been the first time that you heard it. So as you can see and hear, there is so much going on here at this intermediate unit through the 5 different divisions. And we really are working towards those 3 goals that we have, right? Become experts in those areas of the divisions, become a state-level player, and become an entrepreneurial enterprise for educational opportunities, for students in the county and outside the county. So we continue to work towards those goals. And how do we get there? We go through those 7 standards of excellence and become proficient and visit distinguished in those areas. All right, so without further ado, if you see me and you want to have a box of chocolates while supplies last, you must come up to me and you must say, Dr. Conway, you are a cotton-headed ninny muggins. Okay? So you must say, Dr. Conway, you are a cotton-headed ninny muggins. All right? So now, for those who are here, you can't get double chocolate. This is for those who are outside. Everything goes great with maple syrup. And the 4 food groups: sugar, more sugar, and candy canes or something like that. So, all right, well, hey, thanks everyone. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to all of you. Happy holidays. Take care, be safe, and feel free to watch us over and over for the entertainments. All right. You stay classy, WIU. We're out, Gavin.